All right, so we're back on the YouTube boxing grind, and as you guys can see, I'm really excited for this video. Today, we are looking at Jake Paul and Ben Askren in their first ever face-to-face encounter, the press conference itself, and then the face-off. We're taking a look at the entire thing. I haven't actually seen the press conference. I've seen bits, I've seen clips, I've seen Jake getting a handful of Ben's love handles because Jake just wants to squeeze on him a little. He just wants to put them hands on him and squeeze, kind of like he does with the yes men in his camp. All 15 of them get a squeeze before he goes out on stage. It's what builds his confidence. So let's take a look at this thing. And guys, a press conference is just that. It's a press conference. It's a chance for both guys to see each other face to face. It has almost no basis on what's going to happen in the actual fight. I heard this thing was a complete clown show. I haven't seen it all yet, so I'm excited. I hope you guys are as well. Jake Paul versus Ben Askren in their first face-to-face and press conference. Let's go. So before the press conference even started, Jake and his team found whatever room that they were holding Ben in before, you know, they go out for the presser, and they come and, well, they do this. So let's take a look face to face before the presser even starts. Here we go. Okay, right off the bat, who dresses Jake Paul? This guy looks like if Urban Outfitters had a farmer's market. That's what this guy looks like. He's got his knapsack on. I would say there were some grapefruits in that knapsack, but we all know Jake, you know what I'm saying? He's not on the bigger end, so we'll call him a couple grapes in there. This man's stylist is on Adderall. He looks like the richest homeless man I've ever seen. Okay, we have the Jake Paul cheerleading crew. Once again, the yes men are all in attendance, of course. He brought a whole lot of PR team. Let's call them 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12 people in this room to confront Ben Askren and his wife. Yikes. Jake Paul did not want to come back in a back room where he's one-on-one with Ben Askren and have to confront him. That's exactly what happened.
Super creative of you to go on Instagram and ask people for some fucking jokes. Hilarious, buddy.
What did he say? Watch Jake try to say Ben real creative to go and get on Instagram and look for some fucking jokes. But he ends up saying, yeah, real creative. Got on Instagram for some fucking jokes.
Go on Instagram and ask people for some fucking jokes. Hilarious, buddy. How many days?
That's what they came in there to do?
That's definitely over the 6-person bubble limit, right?
So just so before we move on, just so I have this correct, the intent from Jake Paul was to walk into a room with Ben and his wife, the only 2 people in there with a camera crew, obviously, with about 15 people from Jake's team, all clad in yellow Teletubby t-shirts. And the most intimidating thing Jake could come up with was word vomit, in which he just stumbled over an entire sentence. And then Jake and his team held a pep rally where they all put their hands in like Power Rangers, and they all basically reminded each other when the date of the fight was. Do I have it correct? What the fuck was that? Well, before the press conference even started, Jake is 0 for 1.
This guy's striking is that of a grandma, quite literally. If I put a grandma in against Jorge Masvidal, she would have lasted longer than this guy.
What? No, dude. No.
I'd heard of Jake Paul prior to accepting this fight, but I couldn't have told you a lot about him or his brother. You know, he kind of came up in his brother's shadow. He was trying to fill his brother's footsteps.
Yep.
You know, his brother is a lot more talented.
This stuff right here is going to get under Jake's skin. I can 100% guarantee it because it is a dig at his ego, and it's something that haunts him to his core.
So you asked people for roasts on your Instagram, and that was the top comment, was say that his brother is better than him.
Is he?
That's like, okay. I would love to be Logan.
And that's the sad thing is Jake honestly does. He wants to be where Logan is, and he just can't seem to resonate with people the same way that Logan has been able to. Logan, it seems like a lot more people like to be around. Very conversational, a nicer guy. Jake's an asshole. People don't want to be around him. Jake sums it up in an easy sentence answer. I would love to be Logan Paul. We know that.
Both taking over the world at a young age.
Okay, so when Logan's little brother called me out, he's thinking, who's the easiest guy that I can pick that'll give some validity to my name? It's like,
facts.
I'm going to pick the guy who just had a surgery, who's
If
retired,
I wanted
sitting
to
on
pick
the
the
couch.
easiest guy, I would have picked Dylan Dennis.
Jake, you did pick Dylan. We know that. I've already went over that. You picked Dylan. I know he wouldn't do it.
But you just said I picked you.
Because Dylan wouldn't say yes, dum-dum.
You
I tried to
choking on your
explain
words,
this to
Bubba?
you. You picked
You
Dylan.
choking on your words, Bubba?
What? You choking on your words? Jake's been caught basically right here. Jake said, well, if I would have picked the easiest guy, it would have been Dylan Dennis. Ben saying you tried. You tried to pick Dylan Dennis. Dylan said no, so you went to the next easiest guy. And Jake just goes, oh, you choking on your words? What?
Well, I'm trying to wait for you to stop talking. Okay.
What the fuck is going on, dude? this guy's fucking, he's kind of cracking here, huh? One, Ben goes after his little brother syndrome, and then two, Ben just says, as a matter of factly, yeah, he picked the easiest guy available, and Jake starts fondling his pants while choking on air. I don't know what goes through the empty mind of Jake Paul other than how do I get my hair to not look like it's receding on a daily basis, but the lack of mental ability to keep up in a verbal tit for tat is pretty easily seen. He just makes audible noises into a microphone while grabbing at his crotch. Don't know what the fuck that is.
Like, this is typical bully behavior, but obviously sometimes
This is the
bully
fucking
picks
fight
the wrong
game.
person.
This is the fucking fight game. You pussy ass bitch. This is the fucking fight game. Yeah, I'll bully you around just like I'm gonna bully you in the ring. Shut the fuck up. You sound like a middle schooler. Oh, he's bullying me. Shut the fuck.
It's actually kind of funny. That's a good little one-liner from Jake. I'll bully you here like I'll bully you in the ring. That's a nice one-liner. I like that.
Jake, if you and I ran into each other in the back alley in Las Vegas and I wanted to do a homicide,
Do it right now then. We're running into each other right now. Come on.
someone's gonna stop you. You got like 27 people.
We know what happens if these two get into an actual fight in the street, here on this stage, anywhere with not pillows on their hands. Ben throws him on his head, sits on top of him, puts his balls in his face. That's what happens here.
Anyways, I would do a homicide on you if I wanted to.
Wait, what did Ben say?
Anyways, I would do a homicide on you if I wanted to.
I would do a homicide on you if I wanted to. Excuse me, sir. If you and I were to have a little kerfuffle, I would walk to the back alley, put both hands in the air, and say, I'm about to do a murder.
This fight makes sense in a lot of ways, and there's a large majority of people who think he's gonna win, and then there's the other half who know I'm gonna win.
If a large majority of people think Ben's gonna win, that doesn't mean half think you're gonna win. That's not how majorities work, Jake. The public school system has failed him to this day.
So you are representing the sport of MMA. You are an MMA fighter.
Jake does make a great point. Ben, regardless if he wants to be or not, is representing the sport of MMA. He doesn't necessarily have to do that himself, but people will see this as an MMA fighter. If they don't know who Ben Askren is, don't know how he fights in an MMA octagon, they will say an MMA fighter lost to Jake Paul, a YouTuber. That's how it will be framed should Ben lose this fight.
Yo, this real fighter's getting in with Jake Paul, and he's gonna get KO'd in 2 rounds.
Jake is beholden to this belief that he's going to KO Ben in 2 rounds, and I'm really hoping for his sake that he's not planning for that to be the finality of the fight. If the fight becomes harder than you anticipated it to be, the fight starts to turn in the opposite direction. You then have to adjust to the fact that you weren't able to do what your game plan was, which is get Ben out in the first 2 rounds. If this thing is past that when the second round ends and Ben is still there in this face, what happens then? That's the big question we've all wanted to know.
The fighter that I am now would knock out the fighter in the Nate Robinson fight. That is Jake Paul. So I'm
Jake has to clarify that the fighter he is now would knock out the Jake Paul that fought Nate Robinson. Not that the fighter he is now would also knock out Nate Robinson. It doesn't flow out of his head the right way. He tries, man. God loves a trier, Jake.
Hey, I was wondering, your
thing.
cheerleaders that you brought to my room, like, do you pay them as coaches or groupies, or do you just give them like sloppy seconds and social media shit?
Woo!
I give them a ton of dry over the pants hand jobs.
And the entire world at that sentence alone curled up in the fetal position and regretted being alive and breathing air. What is this guy talking about?
Say it one more time. We can just all laugh afterwards, just so you feel good about yourself. Say it one more time for us. No?
Do you have another question?
Jesus Christ.
Look at the cock on this guy.
You want to talk about some uncomfortable energy? The 2 things that has hit Jake pretty hard, the Logan Paul stuff and Ben talking about his team. I think Jake wants him to say it again so Jake could reiterate that he gives double hands on top of the pants hand jobs. I think Jake wants everybody to know. He's like, no. Seriously, guys, I give on top of the pants hand jobs. I take 2 hands and I rub it like Mr. Miyagi trying to wake up Daniel's son. Okay? Like, he's trying to convince us all. I don't know.
Again, he is one of the many bird brain people out there who don't understand that Jake Paul is a real fighter.
Why does Jake keep referring to himself in the third person? Because W.A.D.E is getting kind of uncomfortable at this point.
Jake, considering Ben's combat sports background, are you expecting a quantum leap in the level of competition that you faced thus far?
No. I think he'll be easier to beat than Nate Robinson.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Ben Askren has at least fought. Ben Askren is a world champion in a fighting sport, not just the sport of boxing, the sport of fighting. in 2 different organizations. Nate Robinson, I am still holding on to this belief that he has not sparred ever. The first time he threw punches at another individual that was trying to hurt him was in the Jake Paul fight. I swear by it. I will go to my grave with it, because that guy had not ever been punched.
I love the sport. I want to bring more eyeballs to it. I love everything to do with it. You know, I could see myself coaching my son one day.
Someone's gonna let you have kids?
Hey, it's
What do
your
you think
dad
it is
calling
about
in.
yourself that's made it successful?
It's dad calling in. Look.
It's Masvidal.
That dude's still alive?
Where he said that dude's still alive.
Does that bother you, by the way, that you got knocked out in 5 seconds? Doesn't bother you?
Not really.
100% it does.
So this clip doesn't bother you?
I've only seen it like a million times. Doesn't bother me.
Okay. Sure. Very nice. Very nice. Very well done, Jake. Round of applause. I will give it up. That was spectacular. That's the best thing that Jake has done this entire press conference right there. This is when we get to the point of uncomfortability for Jake. Ben asks him, who is the better boxer, him or Logan? Watch this exchange.
Who's better, you or him at boxing?
Me, hands down. That's why I'm 3-0, 3 KOs. He's 0-1-1.
Yeah.
Jake knows exactly his brother's record.
He ever whoop your ass when you were the little brother?
Nothing.
That was a question, Jake. You're supposed to respond.
I just don't care about your question.
Woo!
Okay. So I'll take that as he rubbed your face in the carpet on a weekly basis.
Yeah, sure, Ben.
This is what I'm talking about. The psyche of Jake Paul. This 24-year-old man, when you bring in the bad memories of his childhood or the things that frustrate him the most, being in his brother's shadow. Logan was the better wrestler in high school. He made the better grades. Logan decided he wanted to go to Los Angeles. Jake followed in his footsteps. Logan has dominated every interaction they've had as kids up until their adulthood. So he's tired of hearing about Logan. He's tired of being in his brother's shadow. And Ben hits him right in the soft spot.
I was most impressed by the fact that Jake, as a 24-year-old, is able to convince a whole team of grown men to do a cheer with him. That was tremendous.
It's called a team, a family. Seems like you don't have really friends.
Jake wants so badly to project his family issues onto Ben. He tells Ben, who actually has a family, has a wife, has kids, that he doesn't know what a family is. Because of course we all know that the family that Jake's talking about, the family you pay for, is the one that you really care about. Because it's not real unless you gotta pay them on a monthly stipend and you give them their problem child mandated t-shirts that reflects your real daddy issues, and they all put their hands in like Power Rangers and remind us how a calendar works. That's your family. When in reality, Jake's family is the most dysfunctional one on YouTube. Look at Jake. He looks like the king of the trolls. What is this stance? He's like, all right, everyone, out of my way. I've got to intimidate Ben Askren through a plexiglass wall. Look at him. Oh! Hey, but Jake has a little head movement. Look at that. The lean. Okay, a little pull head movement. Grabs the elbow. Lead elbow there. Okay. All right, Jake. A little quick reflexes. Ben says, your cheerleaders are so embarrassing. Jake says he's the champ with no belt. Oh! Okay, hold the fucking phone. Okay. All right, so what happens here is it looks like Ben just tries to get under Jake's skin a little more, and it works. Now, I don't think Ben even meant to actually touch his face, but Ben cares so little about this guy that he mushes him in the face. Jake recognizes it, and he does get an eye poke. Ben, you're already getting points deducted for the eye poke, brah. Thank God they have boxing gloves on. No eye pokes will be necessary. And then Jake comes after him with the fury of all hell. Boom! Slap right to the love handle, son. So Jake pulls back, slaps him in the love handle, and then comes after Ben. That slap was so loud. Listen to this. Damn! And then pushes him. Okay, so we have the push there. This is the worst look of the press conference for Jake, because Ben, again, does things to get a reaction out of Jake, and it works. It gets under Jake's skin. It causes a reaction. So thank God Jake just decided he wanted to use those hands that he gives on top of the pants hand jobs with and just grab some sweet loving from Ben. Thank God. So there we have it. My God. I mean, I feel like I've just watched a full-on movie. I did not expect Jake to be so out of hand. I didn't think he was going to be so nervous. He's not very confident in his ability to put words together, to think on his feet, and to respond and with something entertaining or funny. These press conferences, they don't mean a lot when it comes down to the fight, but it is the first time these two interact in a face-to-face manner, and I gotta say, Ben checks every mark here. The one thing I thought Jake did really well was the Masvidal call out. I thought Ben did a really good job of trying to play to Jake's weaknesses, which is, again, just interacting with him one-on-one, talking to the point that Jake is still in his brother's shadow and that he always will be. And all these things add up to just mean that Ben won the press conference. Does it mean he'll win the fight? This has no effect on it, guys. I hate to tell you, these press conferences, they don't really mean a lot when it comes to fight night. Let me know what you guys think down below. Who won the press conference? I'm going Ben. I think Ben's up 1 round as we head into fight night. Can Jake recover? Who wins this fight? And why is Jake giving his team on top of the pants hand jobs? Can someone answer that for me? I don't know what's going on there, but I'll see you guys next time. The fight's on April 17th. We'll see what happens then.